All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw. We are live from the 704 once again for episode 223 of the 815 exchange. And well. All right. It all came crashing down. It was like the house of cards this week in college football. So, of course, we talking about that because, Fraud Watch was on and popping. All right, Fraud Watch was on and popping this week. The Penguin, I don't know if it's gonna be the season finale or maybe just the series finale. Like I don't know, but we did have the finale for the Penguin. All right, and it was great. We're gonna talk about that. College basketball is back and fully underway now, so we're gonna talk about that. And of course, the NASCAR season came to an end, and we have some interesting thoughts about that. And of course, the NBA is going on. So yeah, we have plenty to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, everything you're looking for can be found in the description. Alright? Everything you're looking for can be found in my description. So timestamps also embedded in the video. Alright? Skip ahead, long form content. I get it. Go to what you're here for. Alright? Go to what you're here for. And, alright, as always, my social media links are provided there and in the outro. And ladies and gentlemen, it is Veterans Day. So, if you're a veteran, thank you for your service. We salute you on this day. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we got business to attend to. And we're going to get straight to it, alright? CFB, man. CFB. This was the most obvious trap game, by the way. This was the most obvious. There was not like throughout the entire week, I was just like, this is the most obvious trap game in the history of trap games. All right, Georgia Tech, very solid team. I was like, you know what, Miami feeling themselves too comfortable. I can see it all coming crashing down this week. And what do you know? Georgia Tech gets the win, 28-23. They threw for under 100 yards, exactly 99 to be precise. But they threw for under 100 yards over the two quarterbacks they used. Under 100. My Lord. All right, my Lord. But yes, Haynes did run for 93. With that said, had over 20 carries. Ran for 93 and a touchdown. Jamal Haynes could have made this game a much uglier game for Miami. A much uglier game. But he did get injured very early on, and Georgia Tech still won. So I should tell you what happened there. Cam did go for 349 and 3 touchdowns, but he did throw an interception. And, of course, had that very, as great as the improvisation, and it's what makes Cam Ward, right? Is him being able to improvise. He's one of those quarterbacks, right? He's in that style, that Pat, Caleb, he descends from that line, right? That's where his play style originates from. But the bad part of that sometimes is he holds onto the ball a little bit too long. On that last possession, I think he held onto it too long. In that situation, you just got to get it out. You just have to get it out. And he didn't. He didn't get it out. And that ended up being costly, all right? That ended up being very, very costly for Cam and for Miami. As he did fumble, Georgia Tech gets it back. They're able to run, put the clock to bed, put the game to bed. And that was all she wrote, man. That was all she wrote. Miami falls for the trap. And just maybe they were a little bit fraudulent. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, all hope is not lost. All they got to do is win the ACC, which they can still do. But I'm very interested to see how this team responds next week. I think that's really going to tell you, the caliber of this Miami team. Losing to Georgia Tech, honestly, this is not the end of the world. Of course, it's a big hit because it's a game you should have won. But I'm very interested to see how this team responds before I put them, firmly on fraud watch or firmly in fraud territory. But they are definitely on fraud watch after the upset loss. Georgia. Y'all been on fraud watch, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm graduating them from fraud watch to frauds, all right? Georgia was fraudulent. Not that Ole Miss isn't good. They are, all right? They get the win here, 28-10 over Georgia, pull off the upset. But listen, Jackson Dart didn't play a great game. The Georgia defense aren't frauds. Georgia's defense are not frauds, all right? They held Jackson in check. He got injured. He got knocked up in this game. Did come back, though, but still didn't play the best game, of course, we've seen from Jackson Dart. Austin Simmons played very solid, though. Jared Ivey, however, had 2 sacks, and this Ole Miss defense dominated. All right, they dominated the Georgia offense because, ladies and gentlemen, I have said it every single week, and I'm going to say it another week that we're talking about Georgia in a big game and whether they're frauds or not. Carson Beck is a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum. There is no defending him at this point. He's a bum. He is not the guy. I'm not going to lemonade as long as maybe I have in past times about this, but he's a bum. He's a bum. We've seen countless times he's a bum. Now, Ole Miss defense take nothing away from him. Very, 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 very good. Carson Beck is not that guy. He's just not. He don't got it. He don't got it. If there's nothing apparent after Saturday, is he don't got it. And as I said before, he will be the thing that holds this Georgia team back. He did it again, ladies and gentlemen, in Georgia. Welcome to fraudulent territory. And I don't know, all right? 2 losses in the SEC may be able to make the playoff, but, Georgia definitely has some room to, they need to make up some. Losing to Bama and losing to Ole Miss, not a good look if you try to make that race and make it into the dance. But we'll see what happens. But Georgia, it's not looking good. That offense is in trouble. Indiana. Last week we got 9 Indiana. Now we get 10 Indiana. All right, ladies and gentlemen. They take out Michigan and really, I feel like, just kind of put them to bed. It's pretty much the same story we said every single game with Michigan this year. Defense played great. Rourke only had 206 and 2 touchdowns in his return, right? But Michigan still has no offense. All right, and there has to be questions asked about Sharon Moore. There has to be questions asked about the offensive coaching staff, because what happened recruiting-wise that Georgia just completely neglected the offensive side of the ball. Just completely did, right? Edwards has been underwhelmed, as he honestly has outside of that little mini playoff run. He's never really truly been that guy besides that one moment in time. But him and Mullins are pretty much shut down because everybody knows that Michigan has to run to win, right? They're a one-dimensional offense. And when you can shut down that one dimension, they're dead, right? Davis Warren needs to be the guy going forward. He's the best of your quarterbacks. I think that's apparent. Alex Orji, the experiment needs to end, all right? He don't got it. He don't got it. Respectfully, he don't got it. He don't. It's okay. Pass it on because he don't got it. It's over. All right, it's over for the boy. All right, let him, into the transfer portal or graduate, because Alex Orji is not a quarterback. All right, he ain't a quarterback. He ain't that guy. Indiana, congrats on 10 wins. They're still undefeated. Very, very dangerous, as we've said all year. Kansas, welcome back. Of course, Iowa State, by the way, now has lost 2 straight after starting the season undefeated. But, of course, that's the most Iowa State thing to happen. But, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Daniels, all right, who's been horrendous this year and nowhere near the player that he once was. He made an appearance. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he made an appearance, and Kansas looked like that dark horse Kansas from 2 years ago. 45-36. They pull off the upset on Iowa State. It was 38-13 in the third quarter. Iowa State tried. All right, I will give them that. They tried, but it was too little, too late. Gave up too many points, and there was no stopping JD on this night. 363, 3 touchdowns for him. Neal had 116 and 2 touchdowns. Skinner had 4 receptions, 135 and a touchdown. Now, Rocco Becht did have 383 and 2 touchdowns. Like I said, trying to make it up. Noel had 8 receptions, 167 and 2 touchdowns. That was Jalen Noel. He's been great all year. But the Cyclones, like I said, you cannot spot a team into the third quarter, 38 points, and you're down by what? That's 25, and expect to win. You just can't. You just cannot, and that's what happened. All right, that is what happened, and it ends up costing them so dearly. And yeah, Kansas, like I said, looked like old Kansas. Jalen Daniels looked like old Jalen Daniels, and they were able to get the win. So Jayhawks rock chalk. Colorado, y'all are just eating crow, man. All you Colorado haters are just eating crow this year. All right, they get the win against Texas Tech, 41-27, and what could have been. All right, could have been a trap game. Very akin to what we saw with Georgia Tech, Miami. Very akin, to this Kansas, Iowa State that we just talked about. Could have been a trap game for them. Texas Tech with a lot of momentum after winning last week. Taj Brooks, we talked about. He had 137 and a touchdown in this game. Hell, J-Rod was, tackling everything with a pulse. Yet again, he's got to be in the running for the Buckets, by the way. 17 tackles, 1 sack, 1.5 TFLs for him. But with all that said, Colorado still got the win, ladies and gentlemen. They're still in winning ways and still control their own destiny in the Big 12. Colorado might be a playoff team, and a lot of y'all are just going to have to be sick about it. Y'all just going to have to be sick about it, all right? Sanders, listen, all 3 Sanders kids scored. Now you might be like, Chris, there's only 2 Sanders kids. So how could have all 3 of them scored? Well, Shiloh scored the, put it to bed with the fumble recovery. And of course, Travis, all right? Because let's be real, Travis Hunter, with all due respect to Trav's dad, Dion is his adopted father. All right, at this point, that is Dion's son. Okay, that is his 3rd son. So, all 3 Sanders kids scored. Shadur had 291 and 3 touchdowns again. Put some respect on Shadur's name. Now I'm saying he's QB1. We can talk about it. But, put some respect on his name. Trav had 9 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Very quiet, very, very quiet day defensively. But you know what? Honestly, with how many snaps he's played, probably needs it. All right, he probably needed it, but it was okay. All right, Trav didn't have to be Superman, in the secondary this week because the front seven. It was the best trench play I've seen from this Colorado team, where this was a problem last year, right? Offensively and defensively, it was a problem in the trenches. They didn't have no hogs. They didn't have no dogs up front. They had 7 sacks in this game on Texas Tech. 7. It was a near perfect performance from that front seven and one of the most impressive I've seen from Colorado in a very, very long time, regardless of which side of the ball. All right, that's how good it was. It was the reason why they were able to win this game and hold on and keep that distance between them and Texas Tech. Every time Tech tried to inch back, Colorado's front seven was there to make a play. So again, the Buffaloes showing maybe they might be more than just, the Shadar and Trav show, and maybe this defense is making some improvements and they can be a little bit dangerous here. We gonna see. I'm not gonna buy into the Kool-Aid yet necessarily, but listen, Colorado's a very good team. Put some respect on their name, and again, they're still leading the pack in the Big 12. Bama. All right, Bama LSU. There was literally, I had no doubt about this game. I had not a single doubt in my mind how this game was going to go. Not a single hesitancy in my brain about how this was going to go. It was the most obvious of conclusions. Of course, Bama blew out LSU. Of course. Of course. Have you seen LSU this year? And of course, Bama with everything to play for. I mean, everything. Everything to play for in this game. It was so obvious. All right, even though we were in Death Valley, it was so obvious. Bama gets the win 42-13. Jalen Milroe is going to be a hell of a running back. Okay? He is going to be a hell of a running back. All right? I don't know if his future in the NFL is at QB, but he is going to be a hell of a running back because I just know some team is going to ask him. And honestly, I don't blame him. He goes 12 carries, 185 yards, and 4 touchdowns in this game. Which if he wasn't honestly, regardless of whether he's a quarterback or not, was one of the best rushing performances we've seen all year. All right, that's well over 10 yards a carry. Borderline, I think 14 actually. So yeah, just insane performance from Milroe. It felt like every time he took off, it was like you could hear the audience in Louisiana start groaning, like, oh no, here we go. All right, because Milroe just ran wild. All right, it was too easy. Jahad Campbell, by the way, is a top 10 pick. Okay, I haven't heard enough. Respect, I have not heard enough. I don't know if people are assuming he's staying or maybe I'm just not tapped in, but I have not heard enough about Jahad Campbell as one of the premier prospects in the draft this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. All right, I don't know if there's that many better linebackers, edge rushers in the class. All right, 12 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 TFLs. If there's a big game, he's showing up and he's showing out. Jahad Campbell, former 5-star, he's that guy. He is that guy. He was dominant in this game. Nuss gets picked twice. He was the bad Favre this week. So, bad Nuss for LSU. And it was bad news because Milroe ran wild. And Bama, all right, they got the 2 losses, but they got one back here against LSU. So I guess that's a quality W. So they're not dead yet, but still some room to make up for Bama. And, of course, Georgia is helping them out by being trash as well. Virginia, all right, to close out the main slate of games. All right, Virginia gets the win over Pittsburgh in the upset. Had to give this shout out, of course, for my father. All right, but yes, Pittsburgh struggled. All right, struggled mightily in this game. Never, ever looked comfortable in this game. Virginia played an inspired defensive game. We've seen that very, very familiar. All right, very familiar this week. A lot of inspired defensive performances. 8 TFLs for them. They control the time of possession, I think, by over 10 minutes in this game. So, yeah, Virginia took control and never let go. All right, never let go. Pittsburgh, sleptwalked, as they say, sleptwalked through this game, and they paid for it, all right? They paid the piper. Virginia gets the upset over Pitt, all right? Pitt, welcome to Fraud Watch. BYU, Utah, of course, the Holy War was as toxic as ever. However, BYU gets the win. Season stays alive. Utah still in misery. That holding call was very controversial. I think it was fair, though. If I had to say so myself, I think it was very fair. So we will see. We'll see, what the outlook after that is. But, Utah was very fired up about it. Quinn Ewers is back. All right. Him and Florida, again, is like a carcass at this point. So, to be fair, not like the craziest achievement and craziest win at this point. But still, Quinn Ewers looked like he was back to early season Quinn form. He had 5 touchdowns. Ohio State got some demons off against Purdue. As of course, Purdue sometimes is a trap game for number two teams. That did not happen. All right, Ohio State beat the brakes off of them boys, and Purdue gets skunked. So yes, all right, fraud watch ever expanding, and some of y'all got put in fraud territory. Some of y'all wrecking to the watch, and yeah, we're gonna see. But it very much so feels like we are going to have a very chaotic end to the college football season. All right, for the week in college basketball, all right, really the first week. Let's be real, all right, the first week of college basketball. I know we had some, early season games last week, but this is really like the first week of college basketball. And of course, we got a big week coming up as well. But, all right, let's talk about two of the major games that happened this week. Kansas, Carolina first up, all right? A lot of people said this might be game of the year already. And honestly, I was like, all right, it's okay. It's an early season top five. Like, okay, let's calm down. But you know what? It ended up being a really good game, all right? And we learned a lot about these two teams. We learned a whole lot. Now, Kansas was putting BTA. All right, the same way Bama put BTA on LSU this week, Kansas was putting the belt on UNC. However, UNC came out of the second half and said, we ain't going out like that, and fought well. All right, I will give that to them. I will give that to the Tar Heels. As long as y'all know I'm a Duke fan, but I will give that to Carolina. They fought well. However, it was not enough. All right, Kansas, the veteran leadership. Not that Carolina doesn't have plenty of that. We're going to talk about that. But Kansas was able to make the necessary plays late. Bill Self was Bill Self. And they were able to squeak out a 92-89 win here early on. And number one stays number one. Hunter Dickinson had 20 and 10. Zeke Mayo had a huge game. All right. And it wasn't just because he had 21 in this game. The defense he played, of course, Carolina's led by the three-headed monster guard-wise, right? And it honestly is deeper than that because they got Ian Jackson coming off the bench, which is, Captain Jack off the bench is kind of overkill, it feels like. But of course, you got RJ, you got Elio, and you got Seth Trimble, right? And you got to have to play perimeter defense against this Carolina team. You have to. They got great guard play. You have to defend the three-point line, the perimeter game. You have to. You have to have guards that can defend. Kansas showed that off, and Zeke Mayo was the catalyst where that was centered. All right, he was the guy where that needed to happen. He was the guy to make that play, make that defensive stop. So credit to Mayo. He gave RJ all types of fits. RJ shot 3 for 15 in this game. 3 for 15, which I'm gonna be honest, as good as Mayo is, RJ Davis, this is your 22nd year of college basketball. You are the reigning defending ACC Player of the Year. You are a reigning defending first-team All-American. You average 20-plus a game. Your entire game is centered around getting a bucket. You need to show up in a game like this. 3 for 15 and you being a free throw merchant is not going to cut it. However, it's early, but still, early should really count if you've been here for 5 years. All right, you should know what it is. And you've done this many times, right? But, however, big game RJ once again showed up, except for that one, miracle game he had against Duke a very long time ago. Important game RJ showed up, and he didn't show up at all. That's what that means. Seth Trimble, however, continues the preseason hype. He had 19 in this game. He was good. But yeah, like I said, perimeter defense, name of the game. All right, name of the game. Captain Jack needs more minutes, so I will say for Carolina. Kansas, however, gets the W, even without Shaquille Moore. Auburn gets the win over Houston. All right, 74-69, which this game felt very much so like what you would expect Auburn, Houston to come out of. Tahad Pettiford might be the next one. He might be the next great college guard, okay? Which really isn't surprising because he was a great player in high school. I think Todd was a 5-star. I think Todd was a 5-star. But yeah, he had 21 in this game, made a hell of a statement, and an emergence on the world scene. Broome continues to emerge as a star for that Auburn team as well. He had 20 and 9, and they power Auburn over Houston, who once again, I think the thing with Houston, it's being a reoccurring theme. They have these really talented deep teams led by veterans, right? Cryer's back, Sharp's back, Roberts are back, and they all did their part in this game. However, they just lack that star. They do. They need one of them to emerge as the guy, right? They had Jamal last year, who's a great player. He's going to be a great pro, I think, as well as like a backup point guard in the league. But they still lack that star that could take that team to that next level and really make them a national championship contender. They lack that breakout guy. And I still don't know if they have it this year. You know what I mean? I still don't know if Houston has it this year. They have a good team, but, in those big moments, in those big games, you need that guy that can be that guy and get you the win. And they still don't have it, it appears. But we'll see. Maybe somebody emerges, like I said, out of those three, or somebody outside of that three as the season goes on. But for now, Auburn gets the win. However, they were not without controversy because on the flight back, or I think it was on the flight to the next game, of course, Ja'Kai Howard apparently, as if you didn't know, is a head case. Was showing a lot of attitude during this game about not getting the ball. He was very upset about that, you know. So he ends up getting in a fight with, I forget the other player's name, on the flight. So they have to bring the plane down because everybody's fighting on the plane, which is insane. So yeah, Auburn, not great that 2 games into the season, literally 2 weeks into the season, you're having fights and planes have to get, brought down from the skies because of that. Not great. All right, not a great start to your season. However, they did get a big win over Houston. The Montverde freshman, after that great team last year that a lot of people are determining, Coop and them versus Cade and them. Well, Coop and them have been Coop and them still here as they've entered into college basketball. Asa had a great debut. DQ had 20 and 20 to start his season. Cooper has been playing great for Duke. Duke is looking very dangerous. It's made me very happy. Of course, we play Kentucky on Tuesday, so we'll talk about that next week in 224 and my thoughts about Duke after that game. But yeah, Coop, Queen, Asa, Rob Wright's playing well for Baylor. Liam was getting right for UConn. So yeah, Montverde's freshman class looking very, very good. Living up to the hype. But yeah, we'll see. Early season college basketball. We back. All right, we back. And unfortunately, we're over. All right, entertainment. Okay, we are over as the Penguin has finally come to an end. But ladies and gentlemen, what a finale it was. All right, this is like I told my friends. We were also, of course, talking about it in the aftermath. This is the most fleshed out Gotham I feel like we've had. Even outside of course, the TV show, which was literally, of course, about Gotham. I feel like this is the most fleshed out Gotham universe. It feels like Gotham's a living, breathing thing, seeing these different perspectives and seeing the city. It feels right. All right, it feels right. But The Penguin was a great series. Farrell, Kristen, I've sung their praises many times. The actor that plays Vic, forgetting his name right now, but he was also tremendous. Everybody was great in this show. All right, everybody. Shout out to Matt Reeves. But let's talk about what happened. All right, Oz wins everything. All right, he wins everything. He got it all. We saw him become the Penguin. All right, it was a great origin story for a villain. However, for a lot of this, we somewhat rooted for Oz, even though we knew he was a bad guy. But after what he did to Vic in the last 5 minutes of this show, he is firmly supervillain. All right, that is how you make a supervillain with what he did to Vic. Did my boy dirty. Of course, Sophia loses everything after they turn on her, however, and she ends up back in prison. However, Julian is still there, so she's not alone, and she's also not alone because we did finally. I got my wish. I think I said it on the show. I was like, I really hope we get some Sophia Selena, and ladies and gentlemen, Selena sent her a letter, so we do have the tease for that Sophia Selena link up, which is going to be immaculate. I'm also very glad they did not kill Sophia in the show because Christian Milani's way too good to be wasted. Not that she was wasted by any means on the show, but she deserves some prime time in that movie. So yeah, even though I don't know how much of a role she's going to play, we did get to see the bat signal. No Bruce, no bats, but we did get to see the bat signal. So it appears he is in fact back in Gotham if he even left. Though honestly, him leaving would be a great excuse for the reason of why we have not seen him, despite the city getting blown up and all of this crazy mob stuff happening, and there's been no Batman. So that would be my only deconstruction of the show. But otherwise, it was perfect. All right, like I said, Colin, Kristen, perfect. Matt, you're perfect. I love the Penguin. Super duper co-sign. Music, nothing really happened this week. Nothing really happened. I listened to 11, which was basically an EP. Extension of Still Praying, and I like Still Praying a whole lot more than I like 11 off of West Side. But yeah, I mean, honestly, nothing really happened in music, movies. Everything's happening towards Thanksgiving week, so we got like 2 weeks till then. So yeah, nothing really crazy, honestly, this week, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, the Penguin held it down for entertainment, and what a show it was. I gotta watch out. I'm watching OBX, so we'll see. I heard some very, polarizing views about how that ended. So we'll see how that goes. But ladies and gentlemen, that was ENT, and of course that brings us to the National Football League. All right. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson cannot play a bad game against each other. Now, the Bengals got held. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not. First off, I get going for glory. And honestly, some people won't fault Zach Taylor for this. But why? Why? Just take the one, go to OT, and with your offense, you can fight. All right? You still got a chance. The NFL lets you both get the ball. You can still win this in OT. Take it to overtime. But instead, he went for glory and he got hoed. All right, because there were three different face masks, and I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref. Actually, let me get the shade so I can look blind. So while I do this real quick, hold on. Gotta get in character here. All right, I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref. Okay, because that's what happened. That is what happened here in this game. Because I don't know how you missed not one, not two, but three face masks on the same play in the same area. It was like none of the rest were watching the play. It was remarkable, really. Remarkable. But this was a great game nonetheless. All right, despite the tainted ending and, whether or not you thought Zach should have went for it or not, it is what it is. All right, it is what it is, but it was a great game. All right, Lamar and Burrow do not, like I said, miss against each other. All right, in this era, they always, always, always deliver. They delivered once again. Okay, in this game, Lamar Jackson will start off with the victors. He had 290 and 4 touchdowns. All right, King Henry once again scored. What's the touchdown tally up to, ladies and gentlemen? He's at 12. Leads in carries, leads in yards, and leads in touchdowns. All right, and the Cowboys couldn't afford. Cowboys couldn't afford him, even though he didn't play a great game in this game. All right, he was none. It was none crazy for D. Henry. It was mostly Lamar looking like the MVP, which he will likely win again. Tylan Wallace had that 84-yarder, which helped him lead in receiving yards. Mark Andrews, Rashard Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar. All right, that's 4 different receivers got in the box. Again, like I said, Lamar was that guy. Matabuke, even though the Ravens did not play much of any defense in this game, he did have 3 sacks. So I will give him a very, very quick shout out. But make no mistake about this, ladies and gentlemen. This was a Lamar Jackson masterclass. However, it was also a Joe Burrow masterclass. 428 yards and 4 touchdowns for Joe, the king in the north. Well, I guess technically Lamar is king in the north, right? Since they beat Cincy. And Cincy is 4-6. We're going to talk about that. Jamar Chase, though. Good gracious. If you played Jamar Chase, I am so sorry. If you played him in fantasy apologies, because your team lost on Thursday. 11 receptions, 264, 3 touchdowns, and he was clutch. All right, every time they needed it was comedic. It was like everybody, T. Higgins didn't play, so everybody in the stadium knows where the ball is going, and they still could not stop him. They still couldn't stop Chase. All right, and as much as Jettas is a dog, and as much as I love Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase might be the best receiver. He might just be the best receiver in the league. All right, respectfully. Again, nobody to talk about from the Cincy defense because, like I said, no defense was played in this game. All right, this was Burrow and Lamar looking like The Rock and Stone Cold, plus the added addiction of Jamar Chase being the best receiver in America. That was that. All right, that was that. Ravens, however, may have gotten away with one, but that is that. Eagles, Cowboys. You know what? This is not even worth a very long mention. All right, Dak is out for the season. Cooper Rush threw for 45 yards in this game. 45. Lance got some shine. He threw a pick. All right, the Cowboys suck. Eagles win. So on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to talk about the Panthers and the Giants. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, they should put this game. What was it? Was it first week of the season? I was like, they need to put, if the Panthers and Giants play, they need to put them on Tuesday on Tubi at 11 o'clock? Is that what I said? They were close. All right, they were very close. The NFL put this game in Germany at 9 o'clock. So not too far off. All right, not too far off. While everybody's at church overseas, all right, hey, you're not slick. And honestly, it wasn't a great game of football. All right, it wasn't a great game. But ladies and gentlemen, the Carolina Panthers have won another game. Everybody clap. Everybody clap. Yep. Everybody in the 704, clap for your home team. All right, because the Panthers have won another game. It is a Christmas miracle in November. All right, Tyrone Tracy played a great game. Unfortunately, he fumbled in OT and gave the ball back, so India Panera was able to hit that 36-yarder to win it in Munich. However, Tracy did play a great game. Like I said, 103 and a touchdown, but that fumble was so very costly. Now, Chuba Hubbard continues to look like Oklahoma State. Chuba Hubbard, I don't know what clicked, but it's clicking. All right, 153 and a touchdown for him. Bryce played a reasonable game. All right, confidence continues to build. He looked happy. I saw Bryce Young smile. All right, that's how I know things are turning around for the Panthers. However, there's nothing to smile about in New York. Okay, there's nothing to smile about. Daniel Jones is borderlining on football terrorism. Okay, 2 interceptions, Brian the ball. Listen, I don't know if you're going to have a job, but I don't know why you're burning and crashing with Daniel Jones at this point, because he ain't that guy. All right? He ain't that guy. He's a waste of time. He's a waste of space on his team. You're going to get the first pick. You better hope for, well, I guess Camden was okay, but, it's not a crazy quarterback class, but you're going to pick one of them, okay? You're going to pick one of them because there's no way Daniel Jones can be your quarterback. The Panthers get the win, and the Giants are now leading the race for the number 1 overall pick. The Chiefs and the Broncos. The Chiefs, once again, played a horrible, disgusting, ugly game. However, Pat didn't throw an interception, so that's a plus. Bo Nix played a very Oregon Bo Nix game, by the way. However, it was the devil magic once again, and somehow, some way, the Chiefs were able to, get a blocked field goal. Because, of course, a blocked field goal to win the game, 16-14, because they're just some way, somehow. All right, some way, somehow, it always works out. It's insane. Again, it happens too frequently for me to be like, yo, it's luck. This is legitimately a skill. The voodoo, they're like Real Madrid in the Champions League. They've won so much, they have black magic. They've won so much that the Chiefs just have black magic, and they used it once again, and they take out the Broncos here and stay undefeated, despite the fact that I don't think anybody would call them the best team in the league. It's honestly remarkable. The Steelers take out the Commanders. Okay, welcome back down to earth. Also, if Mike Tomlin is not Coach of the Year, what are we even discussing? Now, I know Dan Campbell is doing Dan Campbell things, but listen, if Mike Tomlin, with this roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers, at 7-2, is not the Coach of the Year, I don't know what we're giving the award out for. I don't. All right, I don't. Somehow, some way, they find a way to win. He's even revived Russell Wilson's career. He had 3 touchdowns. He had the hat trick in this game. I'm gonna be honest. Jaden Daniels was not good. He was not good. All right, I'm not going to sit here and meet ride and be like rookie of the year, rookie of the year, rookie of the year. He was not good in this game. All right, he looked like a rookie quarterback. The Steelers defense had that boy confused. Okay, he had a 50% completion percentage, and that's actually exactly 17 for 34, barely over 200 yards. He was held in check. All right, Eckler had the 2 TDs, but honestly, JD didn't play great. George Pickens continues to have, He has nothing in his thoughts except for NBA Youngboy lyrics and how do I make the most insane catch possible. All right, the man's body control is insane. Is he a little bit of a head case dating back to his, time at Hoover? Yes. Is he also an insanely talented receiver? Also, yes. So, yeah, Pickens with an insane catch. He had a great game, by the way. 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown to lead the way for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is firmly feasting with Russ at quarterback. Not that he wasn't with Justin. But the Steelers continue to look very, very good. All right, very, very good. They might be for real. And, yeah. The Vikings and the Jaguars, this game was 12-7. I'm not going to put y'all to the pain of going to this game. It was 12-7. The Vikings didn't score a touchdown in this game. They did 4 field goals and won this game on the road. I'm not going to put y'all through that. All right. There were 5 interceptions combined, which somehow wasn't the most this week between 2 quarterbacks, but there were 5 picks in this game. Okay. This was terrible football. Terroristic football, but the Vikings do get the win, and they needed it. The Lord knows they needed it. The Jaguars, yeah, y'all got that top 5 pick under wraps. Of course, the Saints beat the Falcons because, like I said, and as is tradition in the NFC South, cannibalism rules, and nobody wants to win that division, all right? Nobody wants to win that division. Bijan Robinson pulled off a 37-yarder to make it look close, but they could not get the one side, and the Saints hold on. Derek Carr had 2 TDs. Kamara did break the career rushing record, I believe, for the Saints, so congrats to AK-41. It wasn't his finest day. However, MVS had the most MVS stat line ever, and I mean the good MVS in that case. 3 receptions, 109, and 2 touchdowns. I can't tell you how many. It's literally 50 and 50-yarder, 1 extra catch, and that's the ideal MVS stat line. Without the drops. Okay, that is the ideal stat line for him. And the Saints, like I said, of course they beat the Falcons because the NFC South is going to cannibalize themselves if they do nothing else. 49ers Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were once, the favorites at one point to win the NFC South. So like I said, it's time to fall off. All right, it's time to fall off. Listen, Jay Moody played a horrible game. However, he made the one kick that matters. And CMC is back, and the 49ers are healthy, so you know what that means. It's time to make a late playoff run, baby. It's time to make a late playoff run. Now, two teams going in opposite directions we had in this game. As the 49ers, all right, Purdy got CMC. He's got his targets back. So, of course, we get good Brock. We got 353 and 2 touchdowns for him. He had a big game. Jawan Jennings, by the way, 7 receptions, 92 yards. Very impressive. Baker, excited, but did not do enough. It was not enough. As, again, 3 fumbles in this game. 2 of them you recovered. One of them you lost. It's not going to win football games. All right, it's not going to win football games. The Bucs just they can't win the big game right now. They just can't get out of their own way, it feels. And the 49ers, again, it's just time. It's just time. It's that time of the year. November has come. It's time for the 49ers to get it together and start playing football. So, yeah, that's what happened here. The Bills take care of the Colts 30-20. Again, another game that looks a lot closer than it was because of a late score. We had a couple of those garbage time scores here this week. Bills did what the Bills did. However, Josh Allen once again contributed to Lamar Jackson's MVP fund by throwing 2 interceptions. All right, not that Flacco was much better, but Bills do get the win. They go to 8-2. The Pats take care of the Bears because the Bears are bipolar. And Caleb is broken currently. All right, he is very, very much so seeing ghosts. And he was seeing way too many ghosts for what really this game warranted. Not that the Patriots' defense isn't solid, but I'm going to be honest. As much as Caleb is my boy, he was not very Superman-esque in this game, okay? It was ugly. Not completely his fault, but it was ugly, all right? This was the worst of the Bears, and it's why they continue to falter. Drake May and the Pats, again, didn't play a great game, but did enough, all right, with the Bears playing as bad as they did, and they get the win. They move to 3-7. Bears go to 4-6. Chargers, Titans. All right, Chargers get the win 27-17. Again, 2 of the most oralist teams currently going. Justin Herbert is just doing Justin Herbert things and low-key leading the Chargers to the playoffs, though. I will comment on that. Even though they have not... Honestly, they're somehow playing better. It's like they have no expectation this season, so now they're playing better, right? When we were like, yo, this is the year that Herbert is going to become like an MVP or the Chargers are going to make that run, they disappoint. Now that we have no expectation on this team, they've got it figured out. All right, it seems like they've got it figured out. Levis honestly played one of his better games, but it wasn't enough. Chargers get the win. Cardinals take care of the Jets. The Jets suck. Okay, there's nothing else that needs to be said. The Jets suck. Cardinals are decent. All right, they're very, very decent. However, they feel fraudulent. They don't have it all the way, but they're getting better. Honestly, this is progress. Okay, this is progress. I will give them that. All right, they've made good progress. Kyler had 3 touchdowns in this game, so good stuff coming. But they beat the Jets, and the Jets are the Jets, so it's nothing really too crazy. The Lions beat the Texans at the buzzer. Jake Bates hits a 52-yarder after he had a 58-yarder. I mean, he actually had the opposite of Jake Moody this week, where he couldn't hit anything, and then finally gets it going. Bates was just on all. He was just dialed in. All right, he was dialed in the entire game. However, the big cap in this game, besides Moody just kind of taking over here in the fourth quarter with those 2 big field goals, was the fact that we had some of the worst quarterback play we've seen all season. All right, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. What I wanted to talk about is 7 combined interceptions. This man, Jared Goff, threw 5 picks. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5. And still won. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Houston Texans, welcome to the Fraud Watch. Because everybody was saying, y'all might be, the next ones to become contenders in that AFC, but I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it this season. Y'all now 6-4 with 4 losses against times where it was like, if you were really that team, you'd win that game. All 4 of them. CJ Stroud didn't play good. A lot of people were like, yo, a lot of people got a lot of money on CJ Stroud, a lot of U.S. currency on MVP CJ Stroud, and that is not happening. It's not. We've seen a lot of Ohio State CJ Stroud, not rookie CJ. We've seen a lot of Ohio State CJ, which means losing against the state of Michigan, which happened in this game, and also not playing very great in certain big moments. Looking like, this is why Bryce went 1-1 and CJ didn't go 1-1. A lot of that this season. Not that he can't get it together. It's only year 2, but it definitely feels like we're seeing a bit of a sophomore year slump from the star quarterback for the Texans. And the Texans, a little bit of a hangover off of their successes from last year. The Lions, however, again, find a way to win. They are the best team in the league, in my opinion. Of course, we got the Dolphins and the Rams, and I think they're going to score 1 billion points. However, we ain't going to talk about that. That was the NFL. Again, very similar to college football. A lot of y'all on Fraud Watch, and also a lot of bad quarterback play as well this week. A lot of bad quarterback play. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And we have a NASCAR champion. And hey, 3 years in a row. Penske can stunt. All right, they got 3 years in a row, but a lot of people are upset because Joey Logano wins his third championship, second in 3 years. But he would have finished, I think, in 9th if it was the regular standings. He also had an average finish of 17th, which doesn't particularly feel right for the champion to have. But as Joey said, the format is the format. You can't really, don't hate the player, hate the game. All right? The game is the game. Logano and Penske have mastered the game, the playoff format, right? You don't have to, all you have to do is win at the right time. That's what makes you champion in this format. You don't have to be consistent throughout the season. You don't have to win throughout the season. You just got to win when you have to win. All right? And that is the name of the game for Penske right now, and they've done it better than anybody, all right? With Logano, with Blaney last year, and yeah, they've got to figure it out. However, I think it's got to go. All right? I think it's got to go. Respectfully, I think it's got to go. I think it's insane. All right? The best driver should be winning the championship, not whoever's the most fortunate or has figured out, I need to lock in now. Whoever has been the best driver throughout the season should be the champion. That is how that should work, right? Or you're not getting truly worthy champions. Not that I'm trying to take anything away from Joey, but listen, 17th, right? 17th average finish, and you're champion. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. But again, credit where credit's due. They figured out the format. He's got 3 of them. And when the history books in 50 years talk about it, they're going to say he got 3 of them, at least. So, hey, credit to Logano, but NASCAR definitely needs to make changes. That ill-fated UFC 309 card is this week. John Jones is going to beat Stipe. Again, however, I would love, nothing would make me happier if Stipe somehow ices John and just ruins all of Dana's plans and he cries in the middle of MSG. I would love that, but there's no way in hell that's going to happen. So yeah, John is going to smoke Stipe probably because Stipe is washed beyond imagine, and then he's going to call himself the GOAT and the greatest heavyweight of all time. It's just going to be, I've seen it. I've seen the story a million times and know where it's headed. Shout out to Drizzy. However, Charlie Olives versus Michael Chandler is very interesting. Again, Chandler gets a chance at, I think they fought already, and Olives won. So yeah, Chandler gets a chance at revenge. He's been out. He's been itching for a fight. So here he goes. All right, here he gets one. However, if I was a betting man, and I might be a betting man, I got Charlie Olives. However, Bo Nickel and Paul Craig also in this card. A great test, I think, for Bo Nickel. We might see some of that grappling with the way that Paul Craig notoriously fights. So, should be interesting. However, as we know, UFC 309, I might not even watch the main event because what's gonna happen. All right, it's a dumb main event. It's a dumb fight to make. I will stand on that. But yeah, UFC 309 this week. Cavs are still 11-0. Evan Mobley is looking like he might be making that jump. So they up. Spider, DG to PG, Mobley. Got to go in Isaac Okoro. All right, very very well built team. And it's paying off right now. Cavs have been the early leaders in the clubhouse, even over the Celtics, I guess. Even though I think if you ask anybody who the championship favorites, they'll still say Boston, not repeating. But the Cavs are undefeated. Yeah. And rookie-wise, the rookie class continues to look horrible, but we had some improvements this week. The number 1 overall pick, Ricochet, he did drop 31, and then we had Zach Edey have like 25 and 14. So, yeah. Improvements. The 2 Zachs showing up, but still this draft class does not look great. And a lot of people are fantasizing already about this coming years, reasonably so. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the rookies, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year in the NBA as that becomes once again a major topic. But for ladies and gentlemen, for episode 223, I'm getting you out here relatively early, am I not, ladies and gentlemen? We are done. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Without further ado, Ocho signing off.